Most people believe wealth begins with money. But Jack Mercer will tell you it begins with something money can't buy. In 1991, Jack walked off a Marine Corps base in Portsmouth, New Hampshire with a duffel bag, $800, and a discipline that most men spend a lifetime trying to manufacture. He wasn't handed a business plan. He wasn't handed a mentor. He wasn't handed a dime. What he had was a framework, one he'd spent years drilling into his bones, on bases, in barracks, and in the kind of silence that only comes when you're responsible for something bigger than yourself. In 1992, Jack Mercer founded Mercer Freight Solutions. One client, one leased desk, one phone. He made $38,000 that first year, and he saved $12,000 of it. That $12,000, that single act of discipline, became the foundation of everything. This is not a story about luck. This is not a story about timing. This is a story about a system, and how one man used it to build an empire from a loading dock in New Hampshire.
In the freight business, a truck that burns more than it earns is just a very expensive way to go broke. Jack Mercer understood this before he signed his first contract. Year one, he made a rule that goes against everything modern finance culture preaches. Pay yourself last. Not your business, not your savings account, yourself last. Every dollar that came through Mercer Freight was divided by what Jack calls the 40-30-20-10 rule. 40% back into operations, fuel, leases, payroll, the engine. 30% to debt payoff and cash reserves, the sleep at night money. 20% reinvested, new clients, new routes, new capacity, the growth. And 10%, just 10, to personal savings, the future self. Most small business owners in America flip this entirely. They take 60% for themselves, wonder why year 3 feels like year 0. Jack took 10%, ran lean, and by year 5, Mercer Freight Solutions carried 0 debt. The machine ran clean, and a clean machine can take you anywhere. For 9 years, Jack Mercer paid $2,200 a month in rent. Every single month. Gone. No equity, no ownership, no return. $2,200 12 times a year for 9 years. Do the math. Nearly $250,000 handed to someone else, building someone else's future. In 2001, that changed. Through the SBA 504 loan program, backed by his Regional Development Council and a community bank, Jack purchased the building that Mercer Freight Solutions operates out of to this day. The terms were straightforward: 10% down, a fixed interest rate, and a 25-year horizon. The result was extraordinary. His monthly payment dropped below what he'd been paying in rent, and every dollar now built equity in an asset Jack owned outright. That building has since tripled in value. But the real return wasn't measured in dollars. It was measured in options. And when Jack earned his veteran-owned small business certification, federal contracting doors opened that most competitors couldn't even knock on. That's not charity. That is strategy.
By 2005, Mercer Freight Solutions was profitable, stable, reliable, and Jack Mercer was asking himself a question that separates business owners from wealth builders. Where does the money already flow? Freight moves everything: retail goods, raw materials, food, pharmaceuticals, technology. Jack had spent over a decade watching industries breathe. He knew the patterns. So he formed Mercer Capital Group, a commercial real estate and investment enterprise. Same discipline, different asset class. His model is built on what he calls the 3 legs. Active income, the business, the labor, the expertise. This is the engine. Passive income, real estate, dividends, licensing. This runs while you sleep. Growth assets, equity stakes, long-term market investments. This builds what outlives you. 1 leg and you fall over in a recession. 2 legs and you survive. 3 legs and you thrive. Jack didn't stop there. He moved into international product distribution, multiple countries, multiple markets. It started with one relationship, one trusted contact, one handshake across a border. You don't need to know everything to go global. You need to show up with integrity and a system that scales.
34 years after founding Mercer Freight Solutions, Jack Mercer coaches youth soccer on weekends. He teaches martial arts in a dojo 3 evenings a week. He has served on his town's planning board for over a decade. And every year, without exception, he gives back to the veterans who came home the same way he did, with nothing but character and grit. People ask Jack, what is the secret to getting rich? He says it's not a secret, it's a sequence. Control your cash before it controls you. 40, 30, 20, 10. Start there. Stop renting everything. Your office, your tools, your future. Buy when you can. Use every legitimate advantage available. SBA loans, veteran certifications, community lenders. They exist for a reason. Diversify before you have to. Don't wait for the freight market to fall to wish you owned real estate. And invest in people, including yourself, your team, your community, the kids on that soccer field. That's your portfolio too. Wealth is not a destination, it is a standard, one you set every single morning, the moment your boots hit the floor. Jack Mercer, 34 years, one system, an empire built on discipline. Freight, finance, freedom.